Hi, everyone, and welcome to another 4DMethod 4D user group meeting. Today's date is November 17th of 2021. This is our last meeting of the year, meeting number 53, and it's going to be a good one, just like all the rest of them, or not like the rest. I don't know. It depends on what your opinion is. So on our agenda today, we're going to talk a little bit about 4DMethod. If you're new to these meetings or to the recordings, you'll get the same spiel we've had a few other times. We'll get some 4D news from Jim Sobczak in California. We'll talk a little bit about the up and coming next R release of 4D V19 R3. I'll highlight some of the recent articles coming out that came out on 4D blog, and we'll have the section called What's to Know in the Knowledge Base, where today we'll have guest of the show, Ad Komon Charoenseri, join us and highlight some of the great work that's been added to the knowledge base recently. And then we'll have our special topic demo, Avec, classe, UI with class, hosted by Vincent de Lachaux from Paris, France. So this is very exciting. We'll have general questions and answers and talk about our next meeting in January of next year. So happy New Year to you all in advance. My name is Brent Raymond. I host and organize the 4DMethod user group meetings. The website is 4dmethod.com, and we can be reached at 4dmethod@gmail.com. What we do these meetings every so often, why we do it is to bring together the scattered community of developers and users of 4D applications and products out there in the world. We use Zoom just like everyone else these days to allow people to participate from anywhere. All of the meetings are recorded, and the presentations are all available on our YouTube channel. I think it's 4DMethod on YouTube. And you can go back and check it out and see all the great work that people have made available through the group and through these demos back through the years. And the goal here is just to provide a fresh new content and a new channel, maybe not so new anymore, but an independent channel of what's going on in the world of 4D. And for you to show off your work, your products, and your applications that you use to run your businesses or institutions, as it may be, museums, in my case. Here's just an invitation for all of you who may be thinking about, boy, I've been meaning to do a presentation and show off my cool stuff and what I've been working on for over the years. This is your group. Show off your application and your products and whatever you've been working on that's 4D related. We'd love to see it. Got a couple of open dates in 2022, March 2nd, April 13th. If those particular dates are problematic, but you still are intent on sharing, just let us know, and we'll tinker around with the dates and make it happen. So you can see the schedule at 4dmethod.com/schedule. Just a quick shout out to all of our awesome Patreon supporters out there. The latest supporter at the Mitarbeiter level, as I slur my German here, is Milan Adamov. Thank you so much. Again, check out 4DMethod at Patreon to help support the group. All takes a lot of time to put together, and it's great that you support us by simply being here and offering presentations, but a buck here and there also helps. So now I'm going to kick it over to 4D in California. Jim, what's going on in the world of 4D?
All right. Thank you, Brent, and welcome everyone from the Bay Area here in California. I hope you're all staying healthy and getting ready for a little R&R over the Thanksgiving weekend, which came up really quickly this year. As always, we appreciate being invited to these 4D method meetings, getting the opportunity to discuss what's going on at 4D. And it's great to be in this final meeting of 2021. And we're looking forward to Vincent's presentation on UI with class. That should be totally awesome and really interesting. So Louise Dalroy, who is our new marketing manager, is not able to make today's meeting, unfortunately. So I will try to provide some of the information that she usually shares. I'm sure I won't do it as efficiently as she does, but I'll give it a shot. As far as marketing activity ongoing now at 4D, the annual Amazon holiday promo is underway. So this runs from now until the end of the year, 12/31/21. It's an opportunity to start your holiday shopping early. Basically, the way it works is that you earn Amazon gift codes up to $600 with your purchase of V18 or V19 with maintenance. We've been doing these for several years now. It's always a successful campaign for us, and developers seem to appreciate getting the Amazon gift code. So please take advantage of that if you can. 4D World Tour live training sessions are in progress. In fact, the session is underway now on 4D Write Pro. These are the follow-up to the free sessions that we had on September 9th and September 23rd. So what this is a package of 6 sessions that makes up the World Tour training package. The pre-recorded videos with breaks for a live Q&A. So during the course of the 60 minutes, or in one case, it's a 90-minute session, we do break for live Q&A and the questions are answered at that time. The price is only $2.99 for partners for all 6 sessions, which I think is a great deal. And I know that many of you on this call have attended some of the sessions, and we appreciate your feedback on that. It's an ongoing process of how we're working the training sessions. So we're trying to get better with each session. And thank you so much for your very useful feedback there. Soon, still on topic of training, we'll be posting on the on-demand training section of the 4D store. So that's store.4d.com. There's a little tab that says on-demand training. Soon we'll be posting the beginner training there, which is new. It's the training that is typically 5 days live session. This will be the recording. So our goal there is to train new developers, obviously, from existing companies using 4D, or brand new developers out in the community, and to grow the developer community itself. So while we have had these beginner trainings every few months or so, we've never had them available as a recording on the store. So feel free to take a look at that. Of course, there's other trainings up there as well, including JPR's advanced training, Thomas Mall's training on project mode, Olivia Deschanel's training on queries, and many, many more. So we're hoping you can take advantage of that if you have some downtime over the holidays. More marketing activities. We started a new campaign on V19 conversion. So this is a free report that you can get on what is needed to move your application to V19. So there's a link on our website, or you can contact your sales rep, your account manager. We've had a very great response to this training, this conversion report. Again, it's free. There's an option to say, well, what will it take to convert my application to project mode? We will give you all the things that are necessary to do that, how many days it might take to do that. So you should be reading more about that in the upcoming marketing email blast. I do have a scoop to report today that probably next week, if all goes well, we will be releasing a new success story. As most of you know, we used to do these more often, but we haven't done any in a while. but we've been working on one for several months now, and it's about Sweetwater. Sweetwater Sound is the largest has the largest installation of 4D server in the world. They just went over 1,030 concurrent users about 2 weeks ago. That represents around 9,000 processes. So the success story will be all about Sweetwater, how they came to use 4D, what they use 4D for on their campus, and how it helps to grow their business. So it should be a really interesting success story. Look for that probably next week. Blog postings, I'll leave those to Brent. He does a great job of talking about those. And the Knowledgebase articles, he and Ad will be talking about what's happening in the Knowledgebase. Ad's team puts a tremendous amount of work in tech notes and tech tips that are published all the time. We're making a concerted effort to get more buzz around those as they are released. But Ad will tell you about that as we move on. So all of the marketing efforts that I just mentioned, that Luis has mentioned in the last couple of meetings, are definitely having an effect. They're showing up in the strength of our financial numbers for 2021. I discussed this in the business presentation section of the World Tour free session. As we head into the year end in 2021, we're in the midst of one of our best years ever. 2020 was a great year for us, but 2021 is looking to be a record year for us, which is just phenomenal. And that's just not in the US. This is in all of our global subsidiaries, including in particular Germany, Japan, and France. So we're really happy to report that with all that's going on in the world. We feel super fortunate to be winding up a truly successful year. So thank you all to our developers in particular for your business and for the business of your clients. And that's it for me, Brent. I want to wish you all a happy holiday season, because we won't be talking before the end of the holiday, but hope you all a safe and restful holiday. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, just that's a lot going on. Just to highlight, I mean, if you're switching to project mode anytime soon, that training from Thomas Mal is invaluable. There's a lot of especially good tips in that training, and really looking forward to the highlight on Sweetwater. They have they really offer a lot of great tips to the community, given what scale they're using 4D at. 1,000 clients is really impressive, given the how busy they are with their sales there, their musical instruments and equipment sales. They're really a leader in the field. So that'll be a really neat success story. So looking forward to checking that out. And if you need any background on Sweetwater, you can also check out the 4DMethod demo, high-level demo of their application that they did about a year ago. Should be easy to find either way, but it's very interesting to see how many directions that they've taken, that they've deployed 4D solutions in their organization. They're using it for darn near everything. So it's neat to see. So thanks again, Jim, and we'll just highlight a little bit about the up and coming release of 4D v19 here. Just a few highlights of what's included in this version release. Feature release, not version, main version. So it should be released soon. So I just figured, hey, why not include it, because there's just some really long awaited, well, not long awaited, but some very strong and useful things in this particular R release. Among them, the computed attributes in Orda classes in iOS and Android. So this is really neat, especially for us at the Art Institute of Chicago. We use a kind of a virtual structure, a layer, an interpreted layer on top of the 4D structure for accessing all of the fields and data and whatnot. So this is very similar to our approach. You can create new fields in extended data classes, and that hide the complexity of your application. So instead of navigating all of the relationships and computations code that goes into what the user sees, you can put it in computed attributes. And then not only that, you can also expose them in 4D for mobile to iOS and Android. So it's really delivering a powerful feature to the mobile environment that's going to be extremely useful to at least me. So so there's that. Also, another guilty highlight that I'd like to talk about is accessing method parameters that were not actually passed in the code. This is something that I noticed right away, given my own style of coding and the style of coding that I've become used to. If you say have a method with optional parameters, sometimes you would say if count parameters includes, if you're up to this number of parameters, then you can access it, and if not, then you can set the same variable to a default value. Well, in initial versions of the new style of parameter declaration with hashtag declare, if you were to do that same style of coding, the variables would be seen as nulls and you wouldn't be able to use them, and then the method would error out. You'd have to restructure a lot of things. So now, glory, 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 hallelujah, you can now reference those variables and retain some of those older styles of coding where it's not all just packed into an object, and it doesn't matter if it's the more flexible way of doing things without restructuring your entire code in your application. Anywho, small feature, but very welcome. Moving on, 4D for iOS, a nice ability, nice feature added there to be able to interact with native Apple applications, Apple iOS apps like Calendar or Camera, which is great. And again, very welcome for anyone who's starting to deploy solutions with 4D for mobile. 4D for Android, they've enabled an easier way for debugging your apps that you create. You can set it into USB debugging mode so that you can just hook up an Android phone and debug directly from that application. They've added also one of the strongest encryption algorithms, bcrypt, for handling passwords, which is great. It's an algorithm that takes a lot more time than some of the hashing algorithms out there, but it's extremely secure. So it'll be nice to have for their password validation features in the 4D language. And for anyone who develops on Mac OS and likes the dark side of things, dark mode, then that will now be natively available. Beforehand, you could set your style for your environment to be dark mode like, but now it's officially integrated into the development environment, which is cool for the dark side of programming. But anyways, all of this and more can be seen and written up at 4D v19 R3. The beta, if you just search on that on the 4D blog, there's articles on pretty much all of this and more, especially with more recent advances with 4D View and 4D Write. So check it out. great stuff available there. Speaking of the 4D blog, some of the additional items that were discussed in the blog that I didn't mention for R3. One of which is introducing our new partner download portal, which is really nice. Previously, you had to hunt around on the forum, go to the right forum anyways, and find the right message for finding the most recent hotfix or beta release. Now it's all very well organized into a dedicated page where it shows the OS, whether it's a feature release, a hotfix, nightly release, all of that kind of stuff. It's lot easier, worth a bookmark. There's a new command available in 4D, which ought to be handy for all of us developers for opening the Runtime Explorer, aptly named Open Runtime Explorer. So it's just another nice way to take control of the environment. You can now open that up by your own native code that you're writing. So you can have a developer interface where you can pop open the Runtime Explorer and see what's going on in your processes. More features for 4D for mobile. Build great mobile apps using computed attributes. Not much more to talk about there, but definitely worth seeing how that works with their How Do I and animated GIFs or GIFs, as you may. Also, Orda thoroughly compare two entity selections. Now, this one, I wasn't quite sure exactly. I thought it was basically like comparing two collections, but collections already have the member function compare. In this case, entity selections now have a new member function called selected. So if you have, say, an interface open and with a list box and you have some of the entities in the entity selection selected, you can now directly access that by using selected. And it's interesting. It provides a range. So if you have separate selections, so a couple records here, a couple records there, a couple records everywhere, it will return to you a range of the indexes of all of the entities that are selected, and then you can handle that however you like within the code. So that's actually pretty handy. Then also, and finally on this list, 4D for iOS, again, being able to sort criteria and action parameter enhancements, criteria and action parameters enhancements. So if you've gotten into 4D for iOS, it's just providing more flexibility on how the data is handled and manipulated when you're sorting, and especially useful with computed attributes. So it's making big strides there. I think we're all going to see some really neat stuff coming out of the community with 4D for mobile. I, for one, am trying really hard to deploy to get some 4D for mobile happening at the Art Institute of Chicago. I think it'll be really useful. So, and for this section, I'm going to hand it over to Ad. What's to know in the knowledge base? Ad is constantly managing the effort to provide great tips and really wonderful TechNote content in the knowledge base. And with the advent of the 4D blog, it's sometimes can be overlooked, but nonetheless, there's just a wealth of really valuable information on there. So Ad, thanks for joining to talk about a few of these articles.
Thanks, Brent. Hi, everyone. So this is probably the first time that I get to speak about the knowledge base. It's been around a long time, and most people are familiar with the knowledge base. With the addition of the 4D blogs, sometimes things aren't visible enough to most people. I think somebody just recently commented on the forums that some of the articles that are published on the knowledge base should have been advertised or should have been a bit more visible. So we are actually in a process of working through that. We will be announcing some of the latest published, at least tech notes articles monthly, so that everyone is aware of what's new. So if you are familiar with 4D knowledge base, you probably noticed that we publish the new articles weekly. So our team in the US, including our colleagues from overseas, publish, contribute to the asset in the knowledge base, and we'll publish between 4 and 5 tech tips weekly. Every month we will publish 2 tech notes, and usually it will be between the mid of the month until the end, depends on the timing and the submission of the tech notes. But those will be something that you can look forward to every month and every week. So just want to highlight a few of the tech notes that we have and tech tips that we have recently published. So building and securing 4D OEM application on macOS tech note has been published just on Monday. This is something that has been asked for a while, especially people who are trying to deploy a custom OEM application and having to deal with some security notarization requirements and things of that nature. So this tech note is definitely going to help sort out some of the question and give you some answers that you're looking for. It lays out step by step on how what you need to do in order to accomplish and get the final product that will be notarized by the system. Another thing would be another tech note, which is down at the bottom right corner, which is the automatic output and input forms. So many of you may already familiar with this particular implementation. I have presented many years ago as part of the world tour. At the time, actually, I have written this implementation just using the basic 4D query language and the structure access in the way that people, most of us are familiar with. So for this particular one, Ty Bui, which is one of our senior engineer at 4D Inc., he converted the implementation to use order. So everything that you will see in this particular implementation, including the source code and the component that comes with it, is order implementation, which is quite nice. It gives you so many flexibilities and so many options to not only access the data very quickly, it's kind of minimize some of the things that you would have to do if you would have written your code in the traditional fashion. So check it out. It's really quite good.
We use that at the museum. We've replaced all of our old-fashioned input forms with auto forms. That particular component, it's fantastically useful. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's a good one.
Yeah, this is something that I like to hear back from. This is a great feedback too, because of one of the things that we focus on when we produce a tech note, and I try to be very thorough about what we deliver is, we pick a subject, we write everything about that subject. We don't hold back. We don't have to hide the source code or anything like that. We'll release everything and trying to make it as easy for you to integrate into your application as much as possible. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that you get a good use out of this particular implementation. Tech tips, yeah, definitely we focusing on something very small, not as big as tech note. You want to do something, this is how, right? So it's a tip on how to do something. And the one on the bottom right, which is how to access 4D data in MS Excel. This is nothing new. Again, this is some of the things that has been around for a long time. We brought it back and put it in as a tech tip because of many of the people who's using 4D, even though things may be obvious to you, but may not be obvious to others. So we trying to be fair in terms of the content and make sure that some of the basic stuff, some of the things that even though it's been around and it's kind of a known ability that you can do it in 4D is being documented somewhere. So if someone would like to do a research, it will be listed at a higher, found result. So the one on the top right, this is kind of a nice thing now that we have the ability to support dark mode, right? So many of the implementation now, especially some of the stuff that you have written many years ago, once you deploy it on a Mac OS and turn it into enable the dark mode, you will see right away that there's things may not look right. So this particular tech tips kind of like as part of a dark mode support, it helps you to manage your button image to better fit into your dark mode theme for your system. So there are many more of something like this that we want to and trying to focus on helping you program better, have a better way to implement your application, and a little bit here and there kind of goes a long way. So check it out. Knowledgebase is going to be pumping out new content weekly and monthly. So hopefully you can get a good use out of something.
Thanks, Ad. No, it's certainly useful, and like I mentioned earlier, certainly bookmarkable, bookmark worthy. If you're ever struggling with pretty much anything in the language, it's worth a search or two in the knowledge base, and you never know what you'll learn. I try and look at it as part of my professional regimen. But some of the tech notes in there are thesis worthy. I mean, there's some really great information and certainly information that could be transformative for people's applications. So thanks for all the effort in that direction.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, now to the main feature. Today we have joining us from Paris, France, Vincent de Lachaux. Vincent began his career in the field of medicine. He was a doctor in hospitals for several years until he switched to IT with a startup in 2001. Eventually, he began his career with 4D in 2004. So he currently serves as the development manager and senior developer. He's in charge of the 4D interface, which is developed with 4D. Most recently, he's working on the 4D mobile project editor interface. That's the starting point for all the 4D for iOS and 4D for Android apps that all of us are quickly deploying into the world. But also he does the preferences interface, database settings, toolbox, primary keys manager, query editor, report wizarder, that trademark, and label editor. And he's in charge of the components, 4D SVG and 4D pop. 4D pop has always been a very useful, and of late the source code for 4D pop has been made open source on GitHub, which really drew me to talking to Vincent about doing this demo, given his really interesting and advanced coding style. If you're interested in seeing some perhaps different ways of approaching complexity, that's definitely worth a look. He's in charge of the automation of the internal unit tests at 4D. They use a component for exporting databases and a database to recreate, execute, and log the failures of the unit tests. He also does training presentations and is ever present on the 4D forums. And today, Vincent is here to introduce his new library of classes for working with form objects in 4D applications. So welcome, Vincent.
Can I ask a quick question first, Brent?
Sure.
You mentioned that you're working on the 4D mobile user interface. Did you write the original one, or are you writing a new one? In other words, is it going to have a big overhaul, or is it just going to be expanded on the current format?
It is a question for me.
I guess since Brent said that's what you're working on, I wondered if it's going to be a big rewrite, or you're just expanding on the existing format.
Is it, did you write the original 4D for mobile interface? The current one?
No, yeah, I write the interface, the UI for the mobile project editor, but we have Swift coder developer to make the Swift code, and a Kotlin developer for Android. Yes, and we make application by we make native code for iOS and Android. Yes, I think it's not always a tool to make a great. You don't have to think you make your database on the mobile. You must think about provide to your client some little application with a yes. Don't think you can put all your form for the moment.
Yeah. Well, it's Tim, I think it's just the if you've which I think you're familiar with, the 4D for mobile.
Yeah, I've written a 4D for mobile app.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like it. But you mentioned that the user interface for the project for the 4D for mobile you were working on, and I just wondered if it was going to stay with the tabs and the look that it has now, but you're adding more features, or if no, we're going to have a whole new look for the 4D for mobile project editor.
I don't
Don't worry about
understand.
it. I'll wait till it comes out. Don't worry about it.
Hey, Tim. So I think if you type the question, sometimes it might be easier to read just for translation. But I'm going to hand over the screen share to Vincent and let him
Yes.
move on with the demo.
Yes, thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Brent. You have find a picture of me. I was very young.
But you have to share the kids' photos next time.
Yes. Did you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I will present you. Yes. Oh, so my name is Vincent de Lachaux, alias VDL. I joined 17 years ago, and was before a customer since about 35 years. Yes, I am now in charge of 4D development, that is to say some components, especially the interface of the software. because if you don't know that, 40 UI is made with 40. Yeah. Since the 18, all components are converted into projects. And I always say, if you see something in the 4D UI, you can do it because all is in 4D code. Yes. I work every day with the 90 build of the dev version of 4D. Now I work with a 19R4. And it's the best test to have a dev channel stable because I see bug every day. Okay. Today, Brent asked me to present what I am doing with classes, and I choose to present to you a new approach to the user interface. For years, I try to simplify writing code, I think, like most of us. I also try to make the code more readable by removing everything that is not informative. Ideally, no commands to follow the code flow is a good thing. I long dreamed of a compatibility option to remove the star at first parameter of the commands that manipulate the widgets. I prefer said widgets instead of objects for the form object. Yeah, if you want. Here is some sample of classic syntax. I don't know about you, but for the last line, without comments, I really have to make an effort to know what the code do. I don't know if you do, but and now here is the equivalent in a new syntax. I prefer, definitively prefer read my object show or my object hide or my list box select all in place of the legacy syntax. Sorry, I think I made. All the code I present today is available on GitHub. And you have some old code, pseudo class available for v17, v18. And I must now make demo with in 40. I have developed a set of class to manage form objects. All the documentation is available in the Explorer. And here I just made a little presentation about the architecture. The first class is form objects, and all other classes inherit from it. Form object is for the static object like rectangle, line, static text. Widgets will be for the active objects like button, button, checkbox, and other. And there is a special class for each type of objects I use in the UE. And you can see a class for button, class for progress, input, thermometer, scrollable. Scrollable is a parent of picture, list box, as subform. Okay, and a special class for web area. Each class gives some properties and some function, member function, to allow a code, a simple code. We are doing a little demo, not $demo. I must start with demo 1. Sorry. Here is a form just for the demo. Nothing very interesting. D'accord. And just if I execute the code, some adjustment was made on the form. Reset. You see the click me button here is disabled, but is now enabled. You saw it just has the good size, the best size for its label. This button adds a picture. These static widgets have moved. This label and 2 button was distribute left to right. And
excuse me.
Yes.
Would it be possible to change the resolution on the monitor so it's a bit everything's a bit larger?
Yes, like something.
Yeah. And just so everyone knows, this demo database is already linked on the 4DMethod post. So if you want to follow along on your own machine, that's also possible. So
yes. I don't want to show you the complexity of the code into the classes. I just want to show you the readability and the simplicity of the code by using these classes. I go to trace execution. Did you see correctly?
yes,
Yes.
it's just a bit small.
A bit small. I think, see, I can do that. It's better. Good for you?
Much better.
Okay. Okay. So what we are doing, you can see the code is by using the class, okay, is very simple and very readable. I don't think well, I get the button, click me, and I ask for best size for the label. I enable it and set L tips. After that, for this button is aligned on the best size on the right. and the black rectangle is moved, green rect resize, yellow moved, and the group here, file, this button and this button are distributed left to right, and I give the title of the button to hello. It's
And
Oh,
on
yes.
the onload of the form is where he's setting the form variables to the form object so that they can be referenced when the button clicks.
Yes. So the definition of the object is done in this method, and yes, all objects are well. I take, for example, the click me button. The click me button is a button and your class button. I give just the name of the button into the form. I set shortcut to command M, and I highlight shortcut. If you see here, I don't know if you see, so M is underline, yes. I set LTIP and set a callback method here formula. And now if I click, the formula is called. And in the code, in the click code, I have changed the formula. And now if I click, the formula is not the same. All the widgets I want to manipulate is instantiates with a correct class. It's the first the first things I want to show to you. After that, I use a menu class. If you yes, a menu class to manage menu bar. The menu bar here was created by the and set by the class, and you can use this this class to create some pop-up menu. It's here. I test the button still and just create a fonts menu to display. You have nothing to do, all is in the class. And if I ask still menu, I have now
Oh, that's nice.
No code, all is in the classes. Made one fail, yes. Also the same for edit menu when you have edit menu is linked to this and window menu is also entirely automatic. Next one, yes. The next one is another concept. Group is available on the form editor, but are not available in the runtime when you execute your form. Yes, and I have made a class named group here. That class allow me to declare group and after to manipulate them. Yes. Here I create a group, a left group. I give it an ID, an index. I put widgets into the group. Yes. I create a second group, the right one. And after I create a super group where I put the two group left and right. Okay. And after I create a group for the demo button and just plus the background to the enclosing rect with 10 pixel of 10 pixel of margin. If you see the form is here when you run, the buttons are correctly the good size, and the background is use the enclosing rect to. And just here, I can manipulate my group just by said my group hide or my group show. All the widgets are treated, and it's no more necessary to make a pattern in the name to make all the objects hide or show. Just form super hide here. And now I change the title of the button. Okay. Show group left, show group right, hide group left, idle group, show group right, show group left. It's always just hide, show, hide, show.
That's nice.
It's the first approach, and now I use a form class, and all my form are use one form, one class for this form, one method used as form method. So how can it, the form class inherits from form superclass. And it's about the same the same form as the demo 1, but it is managed differently. The form superclass add a function button, a function form objects, the function input. Each function creates an instance of each class, widget class we have seen previously. So the code is, yes, if I take the same code as we have seen before for the click me button, I said this click me, égale this button, button 1, shortcut, highlight shortcut, set LTIP, set callback, disable. This same, but with more things are hidden on the code. And now, what I am doing when I said no, the HDE form is little different because I instantiate for the form a dollar property. I'll call it dollar because it's my habits, but you can call it when you want. And when at the first load of the form dollar is populated with the class associated with the formula. Form dollar HDE form. HDE form is the form class we have seen here with an init. Okay, and I declare a local variable named $UI equal to form dollar. Okay, and as you can see, I made the difference between form method and widget method by testing object name. If object name is null, it's the form method. And I can test on load, on page, I can show the form event. Else, it is a widget method. As you can see, except for drag and the demo button, there is no code for the object. All the code is treated in this method. For example, UI click me catch event. I test with the method catch if the object gets the event and have something to do with it. Okay. Some and some action are made in a callback method. Callback method, call me back create an internal call form and execute the method. I will see. I want to the method here HDE from callback. HDE from callback. You see do execute. Do execute will be done by this button. Do restore. It's exactly the same code that in the, except it's not form, but form $, UE who is used. And the I group from is here. UE super hide, UE super show. Okay. Except you have here and I will launch the demo 2. If I think I have to restart my 4D.
Do you envision this style of coding becoming available in the 4D class store in the future versions of 4D?
I think yes. I work for that. Yes.
Yeah, cool. I hope it's nice.
Yes. Here is the demo 2, and here, if it's a code of the UE callback, call me back, do execute. Okay, donc, and call me back, appel, a call, sorry, the callback method with the do execute message, and voilà. The call of the form is call form is very important to have a fluent experience for the user, and it's like the old technique with a timer. Yes. But it's more elegant, more fluent, and it's also more how to say that, more easy to code in a callback method than in the timer event.
Sure. So each of the code that runs behind the buttons is all set up with a callback method.
Yes. Except for the drag object. Drag when there is a drag, we must have $0 to allow drag or not. Yes, and I can't for the moment. I don't find a way to, but I have talked about that to Laurent Hainaut. because so I think yes, drag is also a very little sample, but it's very easy to make a drag icon. Yes, the code is very, very, very easy. Yes, because I have made class SVG. SVG, yes.
At the museum, we use the drag icons for all of our drags, and we do a lot of do a lot of drag at the museum.
Yeah. I love it. I love drag also, and just I create. I read the Lighton picture here, and right. I create a drag icon with the class, the SVG class. I put the image, position, text, font size, and get the picture to yes.
Yeah. Tim had a question. Is it necessary to do the callback approach per se?
No. It's just a technique. It's I don't give you how do I want to give you some idea, some to choose what you want to do.
Inspiration, yes.
Yeah. Study the code, and no, I don't want to make how do I? No. Yes, just my approach, and I will give you now. I think I have finished for this demo, and we can do. We can see how I use it into 4D. If I want 4D mobile, 4D mobile app is the UI for the mobile application. Yes. Okay. To see. Hello.
So this is the 4D for mobile project editor that I'm sure we'll recognize the source code for it, and we can see how the classes are deployed in the code for the interface.
Yeah. I will show here the UI of the mobile project editor. Yes, I love I love drag and drop. Okay, and how all is done in the real life with the same, yes. First, we have a project editor form with a subform for the toolbar and a subform here for the, yes, for the project. And each, I can put along the evolution of the project, new information, new widget, and I must have something very, very easy to params. Here we have, in fact, for the first page, in fact, we have here, I don't know why it's 1, 2, 3, 4 panel. Yes. One panel, one method, one class. Organization, one form, one method, one class. And for each, in this way, I can very easily remove an information, add a panel, all is defined with objects. The content of the page is defined with an object, and all objects can be put in another panel if we want to change the organization of the UI. And in each time, if I take perhaps products, for product, there is a little method, form method, widget method, and a minimum of code, but I want, it's very simple for developers that don't know the code to enter and make a modification because it's very informative and very structured. Yes. And for product, here there is, I don't know why, it's more and more. Well, and you see here, yes, do icon menu, do color menu, each is a member function of the form class. Yes.
It's very interesting to see the how you've structured the 4D mobile project editor, and how this is used in a real world application that we all have access to.
Yes, there is a lot of code behind the 4D mobile. lot of.
Especially generating the Swift and the code for Android.
Yes, all the project generator are also each time classes. Yes. Okay, I think I've shown all you all I can for today, and just want to remember that there is a GitHub repository with this code, and evokes the future. Unless I'm mistaken, the published code is v19 compliant. Okay, but I will update the code in the main branch as 4D evolves. For example, calculated attributes introduced with v19 R3 provides an opportunity to simplify the API. Yes, automatic instantiation of non-passed parameters. You will simplify the class code and more and more. I apologize because all the documentation is not yet available into the repository. I will make updates on documentation as soon as possible. Yes,
it's good to know that that the UI with classes repository will be updated as you continue your work. Oftentimes demos and whatnot, become stale after some time. But this is actually active code that's being used for your own work. So that's great.
Yes. I apologize for my English.
No apology necessary. I apologize for my French.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, no, that's a very interesting demo, and I encourage everybody to look at the inheritance that he has set up in the repository. Starting with the form object and moving on to the other form object types, because it's very interesting and it's very informative for how to do similar types of coding with other kinds of objects that we manage in our worlds. It's a more advanced use and strategy using the classes. So I'm sure we'll all be evolving our own approaches and our own applications, but it's a great example to start with.
Yeah. Research.
Let me turn back on the demo or the screen share here. If anyone has any questions for Vincent, now is a good time to ask. Let me see. Can everyone see my slide now? Oh,
hey, Brent, I don't know if my question about the minimum version required was answered. I had to step away.
Yeah, so for the repository currently, what's the minimum version? I think you mentioned that 18, it could be used with 18. Is that 18R6?
Yeah.
The UI with classes, could that be used with 4D version 18R6 or only with 19?
No, R6 probably. Yes. Yes. I think about all the code is R6 compliant. I don't think I have made something. Yes, I think so. Yes.
Okay.
No.
And if anybody, if you didn't notice on the repository in the README, Vincent does say pull requests and contributions are invited. So if you see anything in the code that's missing or anything that you need in your environment that doesn't exist in this repository, you can try adding it and make a pull request, and perhaps it'll be introduced into the actual repository from Vincent.
Yes, because I have just got what I use, and perhaps you have other needs, and you want to make some function or some class
I suppose that for take 4D for or SVG, the SVG component, are you no longer using components such as that in your own code?
Yes, I am no longer using component because I don't want to make. I use SVG everywhere in my code, and for the components, the internal components of 4D, I don't want to make a link to be dependent of the SVG component. Okay, so it's for that I record SVG in my component, and when the class was available, I just make a new class. Very you can make about the same things that with the component, but here I have just implemented what I use, not what you need, and for the same reason. There is a component, a repository on GitHub, SVG with class.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
A repository. I don't remember.
Do you think that you will convert 4D pop into classes as well, or leave that?
Yes, 4D pop quick open is entirely entirely writes with class.
Sorry, I was trying to mute Guy.
Oh, I wasn't unmuted. I'm sorry, guys.
Vincent, I think you need to unmute. Oh, there we
Yes.
go. Yeah.
Okay. Why? Yes. What I am saying. Yes. 4D pop components. I work and modernize the code when I have some times. For information, the 4D pop quick open component is entirely done with classes.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. It's a very privileged peek into how the 4D interfaces are
Yes.
constructed. Tim?
I'll ask my silly question that I had in the chat. Vincent, I noticed in your code examples, you had an object get pointer command. And then at the end of the line, you had the pointer dereference symbol, dash greater than. But it didn't look like dash greater than. It looked like an arrow to the right. How do you do that?
It's JetBrains. It's a JetBrains font. It's a font. Special
It's a font.
JetBrains.
JetBrains. Yeah.
Font. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Very. I love this font for coding. Yes, and when you may greater or equal, it's only one for character. Yes, very. Try.
So it's actually not two characters. It's actually not dash greater than. It turns it into a single character.
Yeah. Yes.
Interesting.
What's the name again?
JetBrains.
JetBrains. JetBrains. Yes.
Yeah. I saw you mention that in the forums. At one point.
Oh, thank you.
That may not be it exactly, but you can find it. Search on the forums for JetBrains or something. I don't know.
There are other fonts that do it. It turns those two characters into a ligature, into one character. Yeah, there are other fonts out there if you look for them.
Ah, the use for ligatures.
Yeah,
Finally, we
it's-
found a use
yeah.
for ligatures. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
There are other programming fonts that do the same thing.
That's nice.
Is that Apparasia?
It is Aparajita, yeah.
Welcome, Apparasia. Long time no
Long time.
hear or see.
Yeah. Long time. I've been lurking.
Welcome. Thanks for joining.
Now I'm working on something that hopefully will be open sourcing.
Wow. Well, when you're ready, let me know
Yep.
and we can set up a
Yeah.
demo.
Definitely, I'll let you know.
All right. Well, thanks. If there's no more questions, anyone else, now's a good time to ask. If not, I'll move on and say thank you to Vincent. It's again, really interesting sneak peek into the code and to the future of the 4D language, and just great use of the classes. And again, if anyone is interested in the evolution of classes in 4D, check out how Vincent was doing classes before classes was in the language, using just 4D objects and formulas. Formulas themselves are extremely powerful in their own right, but things move on. So now we have classes.
But actually, under the hood, classes are just objects with formulas. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's just it was clear to me as soon as they came out with objects and then formulas that was the path they were going to take, and then the class is just kind of syntactic sugar on top of that. Yeah, but under the hood, if you actually look, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can snoop a bit of that in the when you're tracing or in the Runtime Explorer to see what's stored in the classes, and but yeah, nonetheless, very interesting and a nice way to gently guide 4D into something that's familiar to other development languages with the classes and class inheritance and whatnot. So
I'll ask one more question to Vincent. We're seeing a lot of what we see now in 4D, we saw many years ago in Wakanda. There were a lot of features in Wakanda that's now being exposed in 4D.
Yes.
This is kind of a big question, but and I'm sure you're very familiar with Wakanda and its capabilities and features. Are we going to get everything that Wakanda had at some point in 4D? Because we're getting closer and closer, with the computed attributes. That was a big part of Wakanda, and now we see it in 4D. Are there any things that you know of? No, that part of Wakanda, it's not coming to 4D.
Yes, I am not sure I have understand all your question, but if I understand correctly, your question is some feature of Wakanda come into 4D, yes, and you want to know if all Wakanda feature will be implemented in 4D. Yes, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Laurent Ribardière work and implement feature. It's not just to take the code of Wakanda. It's to take the concept of Wakanda and implement into 4D. Yes, and I don't know if where is the limit and when it will be finished. Yes.
well, the Wakanda data store definitely had some very interesting features that it's nice to see have made their way to 4D, and yeah, so it's I'm sure it's taking on its own independent evolution as well now, in 40, the features.
I think all that all the most important things will be implemented, but I really don't know. Okay.
Great. And just to talk about the schedule for upcoming meetings again, the schedule for 4DMethod can be seen at 4dmethod.com/schedule. The next meeting, we'll have Christophe Flamant come back and talk about new coding techniques with 4D v19R3. And we have a couple of open dates in 2022, March 2nd and April 13th. Aparajda, we're ready when you are. And but if anyone else has some ideas, just let me know, and we'll try and get something put together for one of the next meetings. As usual, if you have any feedback, let me know, put it in the chat or in discuss.4d. Have a post up for most of the meetings. So all feedback, good or bad, is appreciated. Hope you guys enjoy the live demo here and the active discussion with Vincent. And thank you for making yourself available, Vincent, and everyone at 4D for making these things happen. It's a very organic and much appreciated in-depth discussion with the language that we've all chosen to write with, with those and guiding that language into the future. So if you appreciate this style of meeting and the efforts that go into it, feel free to check out Patreon. Again, another shout out to all of our current Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome, and look forward to continuing this for years to come. With nothing else here, just want to say thanks to everybody. Thanks for joining, and thanks again for a really interesting demo. And definitely go check out the repository. There is a tremendous amount of stuff to learn there.
Thanks,
All right.
Vince.
All right. Thanks. See everyone next time.
Yes.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Brent. Thanks,
Thanks.
Vincent.
Thanks, Jen.